Lorong told flood evacuees to maintain hygiene and avoid diseases. New COVID-19 infections rise to over 3,000. Good evening, and thanks for joining us. You're watching News at 10 with me, Muhammad Amin Carlos. Well, more residents have been evacuated due to the floods in Terengganu and Kelantan, while the situation in Pahang and Johor appear to be improving with a minor drop in the number of evacuees. Well, so far, a total of 417 temporary relief centers, or PBS, are currently in operation nationwide to accommodate 41,355 individuals evacuated from their homes. Well, according to the Welfare Department Disaster Info Portal, the number of evacuees in Terengganu increased to 9,700 as at 7 p.m. from 5,243 earlier today. Well, 4 districts in the state are affected, with Kemaman being the worst hit area, as 8,165 individuals placed at 25 PPS. And over in Kelantan, the number of residents evacuated to relief centers rose to 5,538 as compared to 4,829 this morning. And Kuala Krai recorded the highest number of evacuees at 2,719, followed by Pasir Mas at 1,224. In Pahang, the number of residents seeking shelter at 278 relief centers in 9 districts has slightly dropped to 24,107 people as at 7 p.m. The majority of the evacuees are those living in Temerloh district, where 59 PPS were open to house 7,107 people. Meanwhile, the flood situation in Johor has improved, with 1,459 evacuees from 380 families are currently staying at 17 relief centers. This is a drop from the 2,313 residents from 575 families earlier today. Yang Di-Pertuan Agong Al Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al Mustafa Billah Shah took to the skies and boarded the EC-725 helicopter of the Royal Malaysian Air Force in order to observe the flood situation in Pahang. His Majesty departed from the Kuantan Air Base at 9 a.m. this morning and was accompanied by Menteri Besar Datuk Seri Wan Rosli Wan Ismail. And according to a statement released by Istana Negara, Al Sultan Abdullah arrived in Kuala Lipis to visit flood evacuees at 2 temporary relief centers at Sekolah Kebangsaan Clifford and Sekolah Jenis Kebangsaan Cina Chonghua. The King then visited other affected residents in Mentakab and Temerloh at Sekolah Menengah Kebangsaan Mentakab and Dewan Majlis Perbandaran Temerloh. His Majesty also consented to present donations to the flood evacuees who are seeking shelter at the relief centers. Meanwhile, Al Sultan Abdullah reminded the evacuees who are currently being placed at the relief centers to take care of their personal hygiene and cleanliness of the surroundings in order to avoid any diseases or illnesses.
Saya nak mengingatkan kepada mereka-mereka tinggal sebuah sementar pusat supaya menjaga kebersihan di tempat-tempat yang kita guna bersama, khususnya di bilik-bilik air, petandas. Kerana kita bimbang ia akan menjadi satu lagi penyakit ataupun yang boleh berleluasa nanti. Dan kita tidak mahu adanya virus baru ataupun penyakit baru terdapat di negeri Pahang ini.
Al Sultan Abdullah said this when visiting the flood evacuees at Sekolah Kebangsaan Clifford and Sekolah Jenis Kebangsaan Cina Chonghua in Kuala Lipis. Well, residents in Kampung Lecah, Raub and the surrounding areas can breathe a sigh of relief as the temporary bridge connecting the village and the nearest Uludong town is being installed to replace the one that collapsed due to flood last Sunday. Well, the temporary bridge is expected to be ready for use tonight. The installation of the compact Bailey 200 bridge, measuring 26 meters long and 7.35 meters wide, involved a team of military personnel from the Royal Army Engineers Regiment, RAJD. Senior Minister for Security, Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, said the bridge can hold a maximum weight of 60 tons and it will be used until a new and permanent one is built.
Bila saya bincang dengan jurutera daerah JKR tadi, jangkaan untuk jambatan baru kekal ni dijangka akan boleh disiapkan dalam masa 8 bulan hingga 12 bulan. Jadi selagi jambatan baru tidak siap, maka jambatan Bailey lah yang akan digunakan oleh penduduk di kampung.
On another development, the senior minister said the Malaysian Armed Forces were in a state of preparedness during this monsoon season, and about 5,000 military personnel and various types of assets, including boats and helicopters, had been mobilized so far to help the victims in the flood-hit areas. Telecommunication service providers, or telcos, are implementing disaster recovery plans to avoid prolonged service disruption in flood-affected areas to ensure stable services for the people. Well, according to the Malaysian Communications and Multimedia Commission, the MCMC, the initiatives were taken as several areas recently experienced service disruptions due to power outages at communication towers. Well, in a statement, MCMC said the recovery plans include placing the generator on an elevated platform, using a temporary or permanent generator, and providing a temporary base transceiver station at the temporary relief centers. Well, members of the public are advised to save on the use of communication equipment in the event of a power outage and only use the device for important matters such as making emergency calls. MCMC also said that the people should contact the telecommunication companies if there are any service disruptions in their area to enable restoration works to be carried out. Well, all government agencies that are involved in the flood disaster management have sufficient assets to assist the affected residents in the country. Minister in the Prime Minister's Department, Datuk Seri Muhammad Redzuan Mad Yusof, said the related organizations are always ready to mobilize the assets, especially in the event of unexpected disasters. Explaining further, he said agencies which include the National Disaster Management Agency and Fire and Rescue Department are always prepared for the worst, even though the natural disasters may bring about challenges for them to perform their tasks.
Kita telah buat persediaan, tetapi yang berlaku bukannya yang kita anggap. Tetapi dari segi penggunaan aset tu kita consolidatekan semua. Di mana-mana yang kita dah siapkan, yang tak pakai kita bawa ke sini.
Speaking after visiting 2 relief centers in Raub, he explained that the government's initiative to help the affected residents will continue through continuous monitoring and feedback that are received from the evacuees. Kelantan Police will be issuing a 1,000 ringgit compound immediately against those who are found playing with floodwaters in a group as it violates the Standard Operating Procedure, or SOPs, for COVID-19. Well, State Police Chief Dato' Shafian Mahmad said the move was an effort to break the chain of COVID-19 infection and part of precaution as the water level in the state has shown rising trends. Dato' Safian said the issuance of such compounds was made under Prevention and Control of Infectious Diseases Regulations 2020 Act 324.
Saya dah cakap itu hari, nasihat dah habis sebenarnya. Tak makan nasihat dah ni, kita ambil tindakan. Itu sebab kalau hari ni kita tengok tindakan compound di Kelantan ni melebihi daripada yang dulu. Tak kurang daripada 20 ke 30 kes satu hari. Jadi mana tidak ada nasihat. Dulu kan dalam 7-8 kes, sekarang tidak ada nasihat lagi. Mana-mana polis saya yang keluar ni, terutama ada peringkat pegawai, dibekalkan dengan buku compound. Jadi siapa tak patuh, siapa tak ni, kita akan issue compound.
He was met after observing flood situations around Kampung Tikat, Penambang and Kuala Besar, Pantai Cahaya Bulan, Kota Baru. Residents also have been advised to evacuate their houses to prevent any untoward incident. Kedah will increase enforcement and closely monitor the standard operating procedure or SOP compliance among passengers of the Langkawi ferry services to curb the spread of COVID-19. Menteri Besar Muhammad Sanusi Madnor said the matter needs to be given serious attention because there were reports of non-compliance with the SOP among ferry passengers, including removing their face masks while they were using the service. The Menteri Besar said the problem arises when there is no enforcement to monitor the SOP compliance in the ferries.
Ferry kena diberi perhatian serius lah. Bila orang naik ferry ni dia tanggal face mask, dia duduk. Saya dah minta ISKO untuk beri perhatian lah untuk kita patuh SOP dan Kementerian Pengangkutan ada SOP tentang pengangkutan awam khususnya ferry. Benda-benda ni kena dikuatkuasaan.
The Menteri Besar was speaking after the launch of Embracing New Norms campaign at the state level in Dataran Wisma Darul Aman, where Kedah football squad captain Badrul Bakhtiar has been appointed as the icon for embracing new norms in Kedah. Well, 7 days into 2021, Malaysia has once again broken the record of new daily COVID-19 cases, with 3,027 new infections registered today. In a statement, the Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham Abdullah said the figures have brought up the total cases recorded since February 2020 to 128,465 cases. Well, Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham added that from the total number of new cases reported, 3,021 were local transmissions, while 6 were imported. Johor took the top spot as the highest number of cases recorded by state, with 1,103 cases, followed by 706 cases in Selangor and 493 cases in Sabah. Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham said the active cases in the country so far stand at 25,742 after another 2,145 patients discharged in the last 24 hours, thus bringing the total recoveries to 102,723 cases. 142 patients are currently receiving treatments in the intensive care unit, where 63 of them require respiratory aid. The Health DG also reported 8 new deaths related to the virus reported, making the total casualties so far to 521 deaths. Meanwhile, in another statement on his Twitter account earlier today, Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham has warned that daily cases of COVID-19 might hit the 8,000 mark by March if the basic reproduction number of the R0 increases from 1.1 to 1.2. Coming up, Macca's officers remanded over meat cartel scandal. The Employees Provident Fund, EPF, has approved 2.5 million out of the 3.88 million applications for ICNR under Category 1. It involves withdrawals totaling 19.62 billion ringgit as at 4th January. Well, in a statement, EPF said the first month's payout amounting to 10.07 billion ringgit would be made in stages beginning 5th of January. It said majority of the remaining 1.4 million submissions, which have yet to be approved, falls under the criteria outlined under Category 2, which will open for submissions from 11th January. So members who fall under Category 2 are advised to start preparing relevant documents such as official pay slips and bank statements for uploading on ICNR online. EPF said 701 applications were not approved due to various reasons, such as non-matching of bank account numbers, applications made on behalf of deceased members, or members being able to make total withdrawals from account 1 under the existing 55 years old facility. The EPF also assured members that the fund has put in place measures to prevent irresponsible third parties or scammers from making fake submissions. It said EPF strongly advised its members to avoid sharing photos or documents of their ICNR submissions or withdrawals on social media, as this would expose them to potential scams and fraudsters. Well, the East Coast Rail Line ECRL project is the key for Malaysia to develop the country as a whole, specifically the East Coast region. And according to UiTM's Technology and Supply Chain Management Department lecturer, Associate Professor Dr. Harlina Susanna Jaafar, the ECRL will also improve connectivity and transportation system of the areas involved, which indirectly stimulates domestic economy growth. Associate Professor Dr. Harlina said the implementation of the project is important due to lack of alternative routes to access the East Coast region, adding that it will also offer shipment services which will benefit businesses in the area connected by the rail line.
Keadaan sekarang, pengangkutan barang ke pantai timur hanyalah melalui pengangkutan jalan raya sahaja. Jadi dia amat terhad. Jika diangkut melalui lori dan juga trailer. Dan juga kita sedia maklum bahawa kesesakan di pantai timur amat ketara.
The Kuala Lumpur High Court today issued a stern warning to Dato' Sri Najib Tun Razak to not repeat the virtual attack on former Bank Negara Governor Tan Sri Dr. Setia Aziz. Justice Colin Lawrence Sequeira, in making the ruling, said the Pekan MP must stop making any statements relating to the 1MDB trials as if the trial is conducted in the public domain. Well, Justice Sequeira added that necessary action will be taken against Dato' Sri Najib to protect the court's integrity. Well, the warning was issued following the request made by prosecution to impose warning on Dato' Sri Najib regarding statement posted on his social media platform about Tan Sri Dr. Zeti, who is also one of the witnesses for 1MDB trial. Defence Counsel Tan Sri Shafi Abdullah said the post was made by the former Premier as a response to 2 online articles written by the former Bank Negara Governor. Deputy Public Prosecutor Ahmad Akram Garib, however, refuted Tan Sri Shafi by saying that no elements in the articles were found to be personal attacks towards Dato' Sri Najib. The trial will resume on 8th February. Well, 2 officers from the Johor's Malaysian Quarantine and Inspection Services Department, or MAKIS, were remanded for 5 days beginning today to assist in the investigation of the frozen meat cartel case. An Assistant Registrar, Nur Izzati Muhammad Zahari, issued the remand order after allowing the remand applications by the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, the MACC. Well, the 2 suspects, aged 27 and 31 years old respectively, will be further investigated under Section 17, Subsection A of the MACC Act 2009 during the remand period. Well, both of them, who were stationed at the port of Tanjung Pelepas, Gelang Patah in Iskandar Puteri, were detained at the state MACC headquarters at about 11 p.m. last night for allegedly accepting bribes for their smuggling activities. But previously, MAKIS unearthed the cartel's activities, which placed fake halal logos on their imported meat for sale in the local market. Well, meanwhile, 4 other individuals comprising 3 company directors and a clerk who were also remanded in connection with the same scandal were released on MACC bail of 10,000 ringgit each after their remand periods ended today. The suspects, aged between 39 and 50, were prior to this remanded for 4 days by the Johor Bahru Magistrates Court. An Indonesian boat skipper was sentenced to 2 years and 9 months in prison by the Johor Bahru High Court for being involved in migrant smuggling activities in July last year. Well, the accused, Sutiawan Bakhtiar, aged 35, pleaded guilty after the charge was read before Judge Dr. Shahnaz Sulaiman. Well, on 7 July last year, the accused, together with another Indonesian woman, were arrested by the Malaysian Maritime Enforcement Agency while they were trying to breach the country's border in Tanjung Piai, Johor. A fibre boat which was used to carry out the smuggling activities has been seized and was handed over to the Malaysian government. The accused was charged under Section 26, Subsection J of the Anti-Trafficking in Persons and Anti-Smuggling of Migrants Act, or ATIP-SOM 2007, while the prosecution was managed by the Deputy Public Prosecutor, Shazana Abdul Lajiz. Multiple robberies and grand theft auto cases in Kulim, Kedah were put to a stop following the arrest of 15 members of Geng Pali, Geng Paksu and Geng Susang since December 2020. And Kulim Police Chief Superintendent Azhar Hashim said the police believe these suspects are responsible for 30 robberies and grand theft auto reported in the district since November last year. Well, Superintendent Azhar said during the first raid, which was conducted on 23rd December, well, police managed to apprehend 2 men aged 26 and 28 years old. all. Investigations reveal that one of them is the leader of Geng Pali, which then led to the arrest of another man in the early 20s. And police managed to solve 10 grand theft auto cases and 5 street robbery cases with the apprehension. In another raid on 27 December, 9 members of Geng Pa Su, aged between 19 to 35, were detained in 2 separate operations. The gang was allegedly involved in 5 robbery cases in the surrounding area of Padang Serai and Kampong Karangan. On 5th January, police managed to apprehend 3 Geng Susang members for 10 mugging cases targeting female immigrants. Police is currently on the hunt for the gang leader. Investigation revealed that all the suspects used the gains from their criminal activities to purchase drugs. Well, all of the cases are being investigated under Section 395 and 397 and 379A of the Penal Code. Well, that concludes News at 10. In our top story, Agong told flood evacuees to maintain hygiene and avoid diseases. Join us again for more updates at 12:30 p.m. tomorrow on TV2. Thanks for watching. I'm Muhammad Amin Carlos. Stay tuned to Saluran Berita RTM and have a pleasant night ahead. Bye for now.